Hello my friends, it's Bool here again today. Today I'm here to discuss another simple but yet very important topics related to the C#. And today I'm going to discuss about the value type and the reference types. As you know that in the day-to-day programming we need to pass the value from one method to another methods or from one location to another locations. Depending upon the nature of the data type, the way it copies the data is different. When you assign one value type to another, a member by member copy of the field data is achieved. In the case of the simple data type, such as integer, the only member to copy is the numeric data, numeric value, right? However, in case of the complex data type, for example, any class, the properties of those class are copied into the new ones. But in the case of the classes, it copies as a reference. However, in place of the structures, it copies as a value, because the structures are the value types, whereas the classes are the reference types. So as to illustrate the value types and the reference types in compare and contrast to the classes and the structures, here in this demo I will be creating one class and that class, and similarly I will be creating another structure. So and we'll be looking how those two data types behave in different way. So let's not waste the time. So you can see this project. So here I'll be creating one structure. So I'll be demoing the structure first, and I'll be changing this to the class, and I will see like how they perform the copy of the data. So I'll create one structure. So struct, you can say, okay, the easy one is point. So public int x, so that's the point. So there is another one, so int, so we can see this y. Okay, so I don't need getters and setters in this. So as you know that in structure also there is a function like constructor, so like so ctor, you can put the int x and int y. So this means like when we create a constructor, when we create the instance of this structure point, we'll be passing the x and y coordinate values. So this will do to assign the value to x and to assign the value to y. Alright, so this is one structure. Now let's create the instance of this structure. So in this main method, first of all I will write console dot, just because this is a console application, I need to hold the output screen. So let's create the instance of this. So point p1 equals to again same way, new point. So let's keep like 10 and 20 values for x and y. So I'll create another point, and that will be p2 this time, and in this point I'm copying the value of p1. So we are now going to examine the value of p1 and p2. So we'll change one of them and we'll see those changes are reflected into the another variables or not. So for example, console.write, we can see, so I will write point one is the 0 values and 1 value, and point 2 is, so this is second value and this is third value, whereas the values are p1 dot x, p1 dot y, whereas the second one is p2 dot x and p2 dot y. Okay, so if you see this one, then definitely this will list some of the, okay, let's run this. So now this will output the point 1. The value of this point p1 is 1020 and the value of the another p2 is 1020. So basically this operator, this expression is copying the value of p1 into p2. So this, since this p1 and p2 are the structure type and structures are the value types, the member by member copy of the data is happened here. So that means the value of x and y in the p1 is copied into the x and y of the p2. So that's why we can see the output again here, like 1020 and 1020, same. So now let's take another scenario. Let's change the value of p1. So the value of p1 is, so I'll just change the value of x coordinate for the p1 and I'd like to provide maybe like 60, right? So now I will try to print the value again. So I'm going to repeat the same console write statement now. So I'm going to see now, so since these are the value types, so this p1 updates should not reflect into p2. So let's check that. See here, the first console is right, 1020, 1020, that's okay. So then before this one, I've modified the value of x in p1, so that's 60, whereas this 60 is not reflected here. So that means this is what the value type is. The member data are copied member to member. Okay, so just to make it simple here, I'll just remove this one. So I will make this a class now. Okay, it's pretty easy, just make a class. So now here this point is not a structure anymore, this is an instance of object and instance of point 1. So when the p1 and p2 are the objects, when the point is a class, then you again are copying the p1 value to p2. Okay, so let's see the output again for this, 1020, 1020, cool, that's fine. So the value of both the points are same. Now again, as I did in previous example, I will change the value of x and I'll put the value 60 again. Okay, now I will again see the value of this point 1 and point 2. So in case of structure, only this value is changed, right? So those all values remain same. But now I expect, since the class is a reference type, when you do this assignment p2 equals to p1, only the difference of p1 is copied to p2. Okay, so if you run this, then you can see that the first one is 0.1, xy is 1020 and the 0.2 1020. So then before this I modified the p1.x value into 60, but you can see the p1 p2 the x value also modified. This is why, because the p1 and p2, they are pointing to the same object, right? So that's what we say the class instances are reference types. So now we'll see another scenario where there will be the mix match of the value type and the reference types. Suppose you have a value type structure and that structure may contain a class, so which is a reference type, right? So when you copy those kind of structures together, then what happens? We'll see by another example. So for that I will get rid of this code for now. We'll see another example, and this another example, let's see, like first of all let's create one class and let's name this class as a shape info, and this class will have like two properties. One is like string, probably the info string. You can have like get set, but I'm ignoring for this for now. You can, and property, so we have like constructor, and this constructor will take the string data, and this string will be of type info, info, and this info will be assigned to info string, like that. Okay, so this is the class. Okay, so the another that I will define is a structure, where I will create the instance of these classes. So struct, you can see the any class, so any name, sorry, so you can say like shape info. Okay, so I'm creating the rectangle info. So set info, left info. Okay, sorry for the typo. See here, this is the rectangle, is the value type. I'm creating the reference type here. Okay, so I'll create other different members. So rect info, I'll create first one. Okay, let's say first of all the coordinates for the points for the rectangle. Rect top, rect top left, rect bottom, and rect right. So these are the four extra methods, the properties that I've created. So I'll have one constructor in this structure. So this constructor will take first of all string as an info of the rectangle. So it will take int top, take int left, another it will take bottom, and another last it will take is the right. So what I'm going to do here is rect info equals to, you are putting the value info here. This just like this pretty much sorry. So this is info, and okay, so rect info. So rect info is will be the instance, and here I will initiate the object here, shape info. So I'll create a shape info, and this shape info I will pass the info that I have received from the parameters constructor. Okay, let's say constructor, the automatic executing methods. So here this is the shape info. Okay, so the next thing that I do is rect top equals to top, rect left equals to left, rect bottom equals to bottom. So all I'm doing is setting the value rect right equals to right. Okay, so now to show the because we need to output the values, right? So for that I will create one method. So public, so I'll create public void method. So like so okay, so like let's say display. So this display will, what this will display is, this will display the values of this rectangle along with the values of the string info in the shape info object, right? So what we can do here is console.write, what we'll do is like string value is suppose the 0 1, so the next value will be the top will be the first value, so bottom value will be the another one, second one, the right value will be the third one, the bottom value will be in fact fifth one, and the value is like direct info dot info string, right, and rect top, so you have top is there, okay, rect bottom, I think I have rect left and rect right. So I think I am just placing this here. Okay, so this is the left one, so you can see like top bottom, then left right, right. So in case of like string. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so we will basically create another method here, and this another method will create the instance of the rectangles. Okay, so this is the structure, right? So we get another method, so let's make that method public void. So basically we are doing here reference type demo, right? So we can say demo. Okay, so as I said before, here we will create the instance of rectangle struct. Rectangle R1 equals to, like we did for the points, new rectangle. So as you know, this new rectangle, you are sending the first rectangle as the shape info. The shape info here, so the values will be like 10, 10, and like 100 and 100. Okay, so can we display the value of this R1? So R1 dot display, we can, let's see how it goes, right? So let's run this method. Oh, there's nothing, because this is not being called from the main program. Okay, so so this is not accessible. So what you can do is, this can be okay. So let's make it like, because I need to reference without instance, right? So so basically you can make it static method so that you can reference. So when you run this application, then you can see that the first rectangle is a text provided to the instance, the top 10, bottom 100, left 100, and right 100. That's fine. So now again, as we did for the points earlier, I'll create another instance of rectangle R2 equals to, what I'm going to do, so I'm just passing the rectangle R to R1. So what I'm doing here, so since the R1 and R2, they both are the value types, so I'm just assigning member wise copy of the data. But you might have noticed that there is shape info, which is a class as a member of the rectangle. So we're going to look at how the copy behavior works in that scenario. So what I'll do here is I'll just modify the value of rectangle 2. So let's say rectangle 2 dot I can say like rect info. I can give assign string. You can give like, this is new info set to R2, right? So just the text. And also, so this is the modification in the reference type variables. So probably we can modify the maybe like bottom of this rectangle as well. So we can put here like 555 possible. So now I'll display the value of both R1 and I will display the value of R2. Display, right? Okay, so that's it. Now when I run this application, then up to here it will copy the value of R1 into R2, but we are looking at how the shape info values will be copied between these two objects, two instances. Whereas especially like when I modify this string, then this, I expect this R2 modification reflects into the R1 as well. So let's see. So the R2, the value of rect button, they are independent since they are just the simple value type, updates only the numeric value, but whereas it's different for the shape info. Let's run this application. So okay, let's examine this line first. This is new info. See, this is the new info. Okay, so I have actually modified this info only for this R2, right? But this info is deflected into the R1 as well. Why? Because that's the member of the class. Okay, so because members, when the members are the reference types, they make a shallow copy of that. They only copy the memory, the reference. So that's why the modification is reflected in both instances. Whereas R2, the top is 10, that's fine. Bottom is 100, bottom is 555. So this is not reflected into R1, and the rest are is not modified. So these are this top 10 to right 100, and these are the value type copies, but whereas this is the reference type copies. So the conclusion can be like by default, when the value type like structure, if they contains any reference type objects, then they work as a like reference copies when you do the assignment to another one. Okay, so yeah, I think these are the examples. These two examples are, I think, enough to understand what the reference type and what the value types and how it works between the structure and the classes. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.